next to me. I can't pretend. You've got me feeling like you're where I wanna be. Please don't let me go, I need you right here by my side. So won't you run away with me tonight? You could be the one that I've been wanting all my life. Cause when you're looking at me with those eyes, I don't wanna leave, I need you, we could be the light. So won't you run away with me tonight? I could be the one that you've been wanting all your life. Cause I know that I'm ready to go down to the brighter side. La la la, la 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 la. La la la, la 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 la. La la la, la 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 la. La la la, down to the brighter side. La la la, la 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 la. La la la, la 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 la. La la la, la 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 la. Down to the brighter side. All at once, you take it all so well, and I'm mesmerized. I know it's hard, but you can rest your mind. It'll be alright. I don't wanna leave, I need you, we could be the light. So won't you run away with me tonight? I could be the one that you've been wanting all your life. Cause I know that I'm ready to go down to the brighter side. La la la, la 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 la. La la la, la 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 la. La la la, la 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 la. La la la,
in my head like a melody. Laying back in this bed, playing back what you said, and it's not really helping me. Coming down from this high is a dangerous ride. I'm coasting, out of body floating, lost in my emotions. I've been spinning slowly, trying to keep my head above water. Then you go and pull me under. Crazy thing, I know I'm done for, stuck in this state of wonder.
Yes, 빠지게 돼. I don't care, 모든 것을 대해 전부 있게 돼. And I just want you right here with me. 끝이 없이 우린 floating, lost in your deep oceans. 깊이 스며가 slowly,
trying to keep my head above water. Then you go and pull me under. Crazy thing, I know I'm done for, stuck in this state of wonder. Stuck in this state of wonder, yeah. Stuck in this state of wonder.
What is up, Level Up Nation, and welcome to the Thursday edition of Level Up Live. It is Thursday, February 4th, and of course, again, you're watching Level Up Live. Of course, it's your home of gaming and esports news presented by OTN Media. My name is Fiasco. You can call me John, and the dude next to me, decked out in black and orange, he is returning. He is waiting on the return of King Reckless. Unfortunately, he is rocking G2 colors. Now it is the king of the courtside, Joey. What's up, buddy?
Absolutely, sir. We're going to smack around Reckless this weekend, of course. It's probably not going to happen, guys, but it is going to be an interesting matchup with G2 and Fnatic facing off this weekend. But, John, it's been a long week for both of us. We've had a lot going on. You had a long day, especially today, but the esports and gaming news has continued to flow, and this is another one of those episodes where we have a lot to talk about.
Tons to talk about, which means we have a little housekeeping duty before we can even do that. And I'm talking about the drink of choice. You're tuning in about 2 minutes too early for that. That's coming up a little bit later. But, Nation, of course, it's your friendly reminder to follow the show on social media. Level Up Live is on Twitter and Facebook. Follow us at Level Up Live. That's at LvLUp Live. And while you are on Twitter, he is known for his financial hot takes. He is known for his esports fandom of Fnatic and his deep, dark desire for the return of Reckless to Fnatic as well. Follow Joey at Courtside King. Follow myself at Fiasco there on Twitter. Why not follow us on Instagram too? Joey, we need to do a better job at upping our IG game for sure. But Nation, the good news is if you can't catch Level Up Live here on Twitch, there is a podcast version of the show as well. Level Up Podcast is available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And since you're going to be listening to it on the podcast feed of your choice, why not leave us a review? Reviews do go a long way. Not only help reach new listeners, but also help provide the feedback that Joey and I love to get, love to receive, because we like to make... Oh, are you pulling one of me, Joey? Is your camera...
I feel like my white balance is like super off right now.
I feel like I'm the one that's normally like palming my camera to get it focused again. But as I was saying, Nation, the feedback that you guys give us is definitely appreciated. Positive, negative, constructive, whatever it is. We like to hear it, read it, listen to it because we try to make the show what you, our listeners and viewers, want. So all feedback is welcomed at all times, and we do appreciate it. Joey, it is Thursday. It is Friday Eve. It is one day away from the weekend I so desperately need. What are we talking about today on LvLUp?
Guys, we have like 3 to 4 pages of notes of all different things here. We're going to dive into some of them. We might go off course a little bit and talk about some gaming leaks and updates as well. Just looking over it, John, VALORANT, there were 2 big roster pickups. So we're going to go ahead and touch on those. Embracer Group has been making a lot of moves in gaming with some acquisitions. We have Tencent back in the news. Steam launching in China, a new move by Sony that's going to have some eyes on it as well. Some big things here and there. IMDb TV going to Xbox, the EA and Activision earning calls this week, and much more. So overall, guys, we have a lot to touch on. We're going to dive a bit into things here and there. We're not going to be able to cover every single aspect of all these things, but we'll try to hit on the highlights.
All right, we have a ton to talk about today, which means, of course, we're going to make sure we are well hydrated for the full duration of the episode, Joey. Hopefully you have your seatbelt on and your tray table in the upright and locked position. It's going to be a long, bumpy show today, and I'm excited. Joey, what is your beverage of choice for today, the 4th of February, in the year that seems it never ends, 2021?
Well, sir, from Monday to Thursday, we are moving from beer to liquor. I'm going Woodford Reserve tonight, a little double bourbon over here. So I'm excited. It should be a long show, and I am ready to drink some bourbon alongside it.
Joey, I'm actually double-fisted, my dude. So in the copper cup, it is just a standard Moscow Mule, just with regular ginger beer. No red hibiscus this go around. So it's not a bloody comrade, as I like to call it. And in the green cup, Joey, it's H2O. It's just standard hydration there for you. So nothing too special there, but we have the vodka and ginger beer in one hand. You have your Woodford Reserve jar. I think we are ready to go to kick off today's episode. I think we should just dive in head first. So Joey, let's get right into it. Let's get right into gaming and esports news. Let's go.
Diving right into the pool of acquisitions, John. VALORANT is going to kick things off here. Fnatic have signed the Sumn FC roster. This is going to include the captain of Boaster, Doma, Mystic, Mo, and TSAC, and they will be entering the VALORANT scene with this roster. So this comes after Fnatic was one of the first European teams to host a VALORANT tournament. They held back on signing a roster. Part of that because the scene was so new. Part of it was because Riot hadn't come out and said what was going to happen with the scene. Was it going to be in-house? Were they going to have other developers run it? We really didn't know exactly what was going on. So Fnatic, along with a number of other orgs, decided to sit back on the sidelines, see what happens. Now that they've seen kind of some of the talent out there, some talent has been signed. They've decided to jump in with a very young roster here in Sumn FC. I think it's going to be a good move overall. Again, the scene is still so new. The competition is still developing, and we don't exactly know what to expect as of yet. But just on paper, the roster looks pretty good overall. I need a cough, by the way.
Go for it.
Okay, sorry. I'm dying right there, guys. Yeah. Whew. So yeah, John, I'm excited for this. I think this should be a good roster move overall.
Yeah, it's always positive. Again, with the VALORANT scene still developing, the esports scene still kind of fleshing itself out. It's always good when you have a legendary organization like a Fnatic jump into it. Definitely shows that, at least in Fnatic's eyes, as an organization, there is enough stability for that risk to dive into it. Like I said, they dabbled here and there a little bit with VALORANT before, but now they're committing to a full roster. VALORANT's going to be in the news quite a bit. It's making a lot of waves here. Riot has done a great job with VALORANT. It feels like it's growing organically almost to a point, which is good. You're creating a foundation to kind of grow your game kind of the way we saw League of Legends, except with a little more steam and a lot more money behind it, unlike what League of Legends had originally. So it's good to see Fnatic jump in. It's definitely a positive sign for the development of the VALORANT esports scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Fnatic got in with a good roster at the right time. Like if you're a G2 or a Team Liquid, you have baller rosters. They're looking really good. T1 has a good one, Cloud9, TSM. So there's a number of orgs that jumped in early. They paid those contracts for those players early on, and they ended up with stellar rosters as a result. Fnatic coming in a bit later, they got kind of lucky here. They were able to sign a very young up-and-coming team. Lots of talent on this team again. So I think as a young team, they probably got a little bit lucky getting this roster when they did, with a lot of that already proven talent already signed. Team Vitality also decided to jump in as well, though. This one, I'm going to butcher some of these names. I believe it's Brahms, Machina, Vac, Sender, Feke, and Drakon. I did not spell that right, but I think it's like Dracon or Dragon or something. But it's spelled a little differently than I have it here in the notes. Overall, another roster with a lot of talent on it. It's not going to be your top tier roster in a sense. It's not a Team Liquid, not a G2, not a TSM overall, but it is one of those rosters that shows proven potential in tournaments that they played in. It's not the top young roster. I think Fnatic did pick them up as far as who was still available, but Vitality jumping into the scene as well for EU.
Yeah, again, another great sign seeing Team Vitality jump in as well. Another well-known organization. Again, like I said, Valorant's going to be in the news quite a bit in the next few weeks with a lot of these organizations fully committing to the esports scene as it is still developing. So again, Vitality and Fnatic jumping in. Positive sign for the development of that scene. Hang on tight. Valorant's going to be developing quite well. So far, so good. Can't wait to see what they do in the future with that scene when we see more organizations jump in.
Absolutely. And last but not least for Valorant, we have Automatic, previous CSGO player. A lot of you guys know him for his time on Cloud9. He has decided to swap scenes here as well, moving over to Valorant with T1. Again, not a full roster swap here, but a talented player making the move from CSGO. We've seen a number of them move from CSGO and Overwatch. Another one from CSGO here heading to Valorant.
Yeah. Automatic, former C9 player as well, jumping over to T1. It's smart. Like we're seeing CSGO pros jump. We're seeing Overwatch League pros jump. I feel like that speaks volumes when you're willing to give up, your position on a team in an established league, if you will, to take a chance on Valorant. We saw something similar, not on the same level, when Apex really came out and started running with things. That was definitely a gamble. A lot of players did try to make a return back to their home game, if you will. But with Valorant, I feel like it's definitely the challenger here. It's definitely going to be the one to try to steal players from other scenes. And I feel like it's going to be more of an issue for Overwatch going forward than it will be for CSGO, as there's still a lot of question marks around Overwatch League, especially with whenever Overwatch 2 is going to be coming out. It feels like everything Overwatch related has been thrown into a limbo. So yeah, seeing another player leave the CSGO scene keeps on with that theme.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like CSGO is not dying in any way. They have a ton of players over there. When it comes to some proven players, like Automatic is a proven player, but there's a lot of young up-and-coming talent that are trying to find their way onto rosters, whether it be a CSGO roster, whether it be Valorant, whether it be Overwatch, and they're willing to switch games to find that pro roster. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. Again, Automatic being one of those players who could find a spot. Some of these other guys, Boaster, Doma, they're talented, but it's been harder to find a spot in general in some of these games. Now finding these professional rosters is a big deal. Zenimax Media, John, this one is sad. I wish we had our violin music for this. They have announced the passing of founder and CEO Robert Altman. Quote from them in the article that they ended up publishing today on the Bethesda Twitter. Seen to many as a true visionary friend and believe in the spirit of people and the power of what they could accomplish together. So this is someone who inspired a ton of people in the games industry, both in Bethesda and Zenimax, really throughout the industry. I believe he was one of the voices that moved Jeff Keighley to eventually move on to the Game Awards and start that up. We've seen him come through with this Microsoft deal as well, with them acquiring Zenimax. A lot of back and forth between him and Satya Nadella. We've seen him jump into so many parts of the industry, whether it be from indie developers to big developers, encouraging creativity, encouraging the workflow of people, giving the staff a voice in a sense. Bethesda has been criticized here and there for some of their Q&A testing policies, but overall, a lot of people at Bethesda are respectful of one another. It sounds like a good company to work at overall. And a lot of this going back and forth is the fact that he has been able to inspire so many people that he's either worked directly with, worked above as a CEO, worked with in some way, or communicated with in the industry. He's also been present at other Bethesda events before, whether it be a con like QuakeCon, whether it be their E3 briefing. So he is someone who has been around very much in the games industry, very much a inspiration to many, as well as to inspire that creative spirit in many different people. So a very big loss there, having Robert Altman pass away. On top of that, they did mention something else, which I don't think was public before today. During the pandemic, Altman would write weekly emails to everyone in the company to check in with them, encourage them, as well as to offer help to each and every one of the staff as well. So this comes in something like a very trying year for many, with 2020 really being a struggle, both monetarily, as well as within the spirit of it, the loneliness of being in a sense, locked into your home for months, he was able to come out and continue to reach out to staff, really cutting up that bind that you usually see from like a C-suite to those lower end workers. Not that devs are lower end workers, but your Q&A testers aren't really treated the best. So for him to come out, send this company-wide email on a weekly basis saying, hey, if anyone needs help with anything, let's talk. If anyone needs some time off during this, he was willing to make those sacrifices. So again, allowing that creativity to come through, but also that personality that he had as well in the games industry.
Yeah, Altman, actually born in Washington, D.C., D.C. native, 73 years of age. It's tough whenever, it's hard enough when any family member, a friend passes away. But for someone who has a massive impact on a gigantic community like gamers or esport fans or just fans of watching technology grow and that technology create new forms of art going forward, it's always tough. Altman really helped lead the way with Bethesda. Bethesda, again, a local developer here in Maryland as well. So it's tough. It's sad to hear for the gaming community. We mourn with everyone at Bethesda. Obviously, Robert Altman's family as well. So it's tough, but at the same time, we're very appreciative for his vision and for his leadership for Bethesda, and really helping fund and drive that creativity for a lot of other people to help develop pieces of art in the form of video games for everyone to enjoy. So a big thank you to him for his vision and everything he's done, and we'll definitely remember him going forward in the gaming world.
Absolutely. So again, this is a big deal and I don't want to turn it into something business-wise, but this question does come up a lot on Twitter and stuff right now. To my knowledge, the Microsoft Zenimax deal is going on as planned. So again, don't want to take away from the passing of amazing CEO here in Robert Altman, but just to clarify for the people asking those questions, that deal is still ongoing. It's set to be closed somewhere around February. End of February, early March, that it is. So we'll keep an eye on that and go ahead and see how that progresses. But at least for now, that deal is continuing to move forward. Heading into partnerships and investments, John, we've got to talk about Embracer Group. No one knows who Embracer Group is. THQ is probably their most well-known studio. They did go through a little bit of a rebrand over there as well. They are almost like the Nordic Tencent, it feels like, as of late. They're just continuing to buy up people. They bought up I might have to correct me, but it was like 8 to 12 different developers last year, if I remember, around August time. So they've been splashing some cash. Again, they're not a Microsoft. They're not a Sony. They're not that big when it comes to the global scale, at least when it comes to people's minds on the global scale. They're more like that Tencent, where they're slowly but surely acquiring a bunch of people. Tencent bought out your Supercell. They own the majority shares of Riot Games. They're very much involved in the games industry, but not a ton of people who are on the casual gaming side know about them. Casual gamers know Microsoft and Sony. They know Amazon's jumping in, but mainly because they deliver their packages with advertisements here and there. So overall, a lot of people don't know who Embracer Group is. This is going to give you a little heads up of who they are because they're a giant and they are growing quite big. They ended up making 3 acquisitions this week. Gearbox for $1.3 billion. Not million, that's billion with a B, like Brad, Brett, all those good old B names out there. They also picked up Aspire Media or Aspire Media, depending how you pronounce it. Again, this has been talked about on LvLUp by John and I before. We're pretty confident on this one. They have a $70 million budget for a AAA RPG project. We believe that is Coder, the next Knights of the Republic game. Very, very confident on that at this point. We do know that license has been given out to a mystery studio that's not BioWare Obsidian. We're pretty sure it's Aspire or Asper here picking up that license. On top of that, Easy Brain Team, who's kind of more involved in educational social games as well as mobile games, they are being picked up as well. So Embracer Group, pretty much the Tencent of this week, coming through, picking up Gearbox, Aspire Media, and Easy Brain Team. John, these are 3 big acquisitions. Gearbox, most known for Borderlands. Borderlands 3 was up there for Game of the Year last year, if I remember correctly, or 2 years ago at this point. So they are picking up some pretty big names over here, not like giant studios, but studios who have made them pretty well names for themselves in the industry and continue to aspire to be better.
Yeah, and if we are correct, and it is Aspire Media with the new Knights of the Old Republic game, that is a massive pickup with a huge potential for massive sales. That is a very smart acquisition that can result in almost instant sales and money overnight, it feels like. Again, if Aspire Media is to be believed that they are the ones that were picked for the Knights of the Old Republic game, which a lot of signs are pointing to them. So for Embracer Group, that is a massive pickup. Gearbox Show, like you said, that's also massive. I mean, the Nordic Tencent, I like that, because Tencent feels like they're acquiring everyone. But yeah, while it didn't make as big of news as, let's say, a Tencent acquisition or a Microsoft Studio acquisition, this is still a very, very big acquisition that could become even larger again if Asper Media does announce they are going to be the developer behind that Knights of the Old Republic game.
Absolutely. So keep an eye on that. Embracer Group is probably not done either. There's a lot of developers being snatched up and in talks right now. So keep an eye. They could be shopping once again pretty soon. Tencent. We can't go an episode without mentioning Tencent, John, because they just continue to do big things. Tencent and Universal's Beijing Resort have announced a long-term partnership to integrate Tencent game IPs. So what does this mean? Similar to what we saw with Nintendo over in Japan, I believe it was with Universal, if I remember correctly, where Nintendo is building a theme park based around Mario. You're going to have your Mario Kart attraction. I think there's a giant Bowser statue. You're going to have some other games here and there. I'm sure they'll do like spinning mushrooms. Who knows? All Mario themed, a giant theme park. Now, come over here to Tencent. You're going to get a similar approach here. It's going to be between Tencent and Universal in Beijing. We're looking at large IPs that are popular in China. So your Peacekeeper Elite, your QQ Speed, Honor of Kings. I spelled that wrong too. I must have had a little issue here with the notes tonight. And on top of that, they're going to do seasonal events as well, John. So if you've ever been to, try to think, like a Disney World, the Busch Gardens, where they change their events up seasonally, whether it be a play, a show, some kind of interactive experience in the park, that's what's going to happen here with your Peacekeeper Elite, your QQ Speed, and Honor of Kings, as well as a number of other Tencent titles. I mean, they have Supercell, so that's Clash Royale. You have Riot Games, so you can do League of Legends, Valorant. There's tons of potential here for this park. On top of that, they're going to rotate them seasonally. So every 3 to 4 months, you're going to end up seeing a few different changes here and there. And then maybe over the course of the years, there will be some major changes as well. The resort plans to open in May 2021. I believe the one over in Japan for Nintendo opens up this month. And then Tencent seasonal integration for their IPs will begin in 2022, where you'll start to see some of those unique experiences, shows, and different things like that pop up as well.
Just sign me up for the vaccine now, Joey. I want to get my vaccine. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Super Mario World. I want to go to Tencent and Universal Beijing Resort, whatever that's going to be called. I want to visit like these video game and esport genres in real life and just be completely like immersed in Super Mario World. Like, sign me up right now. I want to book my ticket. In fact, I'm going to go on Kayak real quick and see how expensive it is to fly to Japan real quick. But yeah, this is awesome. Like, I hate the fact that we have to fly halfway around the world to experience really cool things like this. We have Universal obviously here in Florida. That's got, Harry Potter World, or the Wizarding World Harry Potter. You have Disney with Star Wars. That's all cool. That's great. That's fantastic. It's a great experience. But you know what? I want to be able to save Princess Peach in Super Mario World. I want to be able to go up against King Koopa. I want to go through a plumber pipe and whatever and collect the coins and hit my head on blocks and get like a fire-breathing flower and just shoot fireballs at people in real life, Joey. And I feel like you can do that at Super Mario World and other really cool resorts that have gaming and esport themes. So that's what I'm going to believe. I want my vaccine, Joey, and I want to go to Japan now.
I mean, low key, I would love for Sony and Microsoft to combine together and do one over here in the US. I mean, Sony's moved so many operations to California at this point. Microsoft's up in Washington. Maybe they meet in the middle and do like Northern California or Oregon. Who knows? But I think Oregon. It could be a really cool idea. What'd you say?
They're not. No one goes to Oregon, Joey.
I'm just saying it was a meet in the middle geographical thing. Obviously, they'll probably do it near LA if it were to ever come to fruition. That is if Microsoft and Sony could ever work together in that sense anyway, which they're making some roads, Sean. We've seen some things. We have crossplay coming to MLB The Show, which is a Sony game releasing on Microsoft's platform. Minecraft is now on PlayStation, which is owned by Microsoft. So slowly but surely they're coming together. I don't know if we're ready for a combined theme park as of yet, but it could be something cool to look forward to in the future. Like, imagine walking up to this gate here and you see Master Chief on one side and Kratos from God of War on the other side. Like, the gamer in me would just be so thrilled coming to that park. So there's so many cool things that could happen there. But for now, we'll have to wait and see. So far, we have a Nintendo park in Japan, now a Tencent park over here in China, and Tencent is swooping up and buying all different IPs, so this could get even crazier as we go. The one thing that's kind of weird here, John, is the themed games that they chose. Obviously, these are Chinese games with it being a Chinese theme park, so they're very popular in China. For those of you who don't know, Peacekeeper Elite is pretty much PUBG. So PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, it's a giant popular battle royale game. And it's pretty much the Chinese version of that. I don't imagine that as a theme park being that interesting, John.
Yeah, no. No, it probably wouldn't be. There's tons of other titles that I could imagine that would be better. Interesting choice. Very interesting.
Absolutely an interesting choice. Sticking with China, but switching gears slightly here, Perfect World and Valve will launch a public beta of Steam China. So those of us who enjoy Steam over here in NA and EU, now is the time for China to get their hands on that platform, and they will do so the week of February 9th. So coming up pretty soon as of next week. On top of that, Dota 2 and CSGO will be the first titles to utilize this new platform over in China, those being Valve native games. So they'll be diving in Dota 2, CSGO. If you are a Chinese player, I don't know how many Chinese listeners we have. If you do listen, you do have Steam heading your way February 9th. Another name I might butcher here, I believe it's Katakwa. I pronounced this a lot better in the pre-show, and now I can't remember how to say it. Anyway, I can't remember. Katakwa, Cyber Agent, and Sony formed a capital alliance. This is going to strengthen their games and anime businesses. They're looking to create and grow IPs globally. So the main thing here, John, and this is not completely gaming related. There are gaming aspects to it, but this is also anime. If we look at Sony, they've invested a decent amount into gaming, but a lot of their investments this past year in 2020 have been in anime, have been in electronics, have been in TV specifically. They've done a lot of investing as well in that technology. So as we look at this deal, while it's going to impact some game IPs, I believe From Software is under Katakwa. We have a number of other things under that developer as well. But this is also going to look at anime. So Crunchyroll has been releasing mobile games. Sony now owns Crunchyroll and Funimation. You'll probably see more mobile games come from them. Probably some adaptations into PlayStation games as well. I'm trying to think, like Sword Art Online has had a number of very popular games that have dropped as a platform on Sony's consoles. So we could see a lot of these different animes turn into games and kind of blend both those, the gaming and anime genres, into one another as Sony continues to invest into both of them. Overall, Cyber Agent is going to be their development and operational strength of the partnership. They focus mainly on smartphone games, but again, strong development and operational strength coming from that agency. For Katakwa, we have content strength, so constantly creating IPs composed of a diverse portfolio. Again, From Software is under there, a number of other IPs under there as well, both anime and gaming. So when you look at it overall, it's going to be, this is pretty much your content umbrella. What can Sony pull from it? What can Cyber Agent pull from it? And what can be made? Sony, on the other hand, is going to be your global expansion power of animation and consumer games. Again, they own, I don't know what percentage it is, but it's well over 90% when it comes to anime. With Crunchyroll and Funimation. On top of that, you have that global power of the PlayStation being the most popular console out there globally. So being able to push the games pretty easily on that sense. You have the smart TVs from Sony. You can push games as apps on there potentially. You have a lot of different ways to use Sony's global power to kind of push these out. So again, I don't think we need to dive too much into what this means because it's not super gaming related. But I do think you'll probably see some more anime games as well as some other gaming content come from this as well. Last partnership of the day, the NFL and Skills have signed a multi-year gaming agreement. So not too much on this one yet, guys. Just very brief details in the press release. They're teaming up to crowdsource a future mobile esport. John, if you remember, I think it was like a couple months back at this point, Xbox did something like this with Space Jam. This is very similar to what I'm understanding this to be, where they have certain IPs within it. In that case, the Space Jam IP built with a gaming organization. So again, NFL and Skills being the two here. They've signed this agreement to work on a future mobile esport title. So they're going to host a global game developer challenge. The challenge will launch in the second quarter, I believe late second quarter of 2021, and it'll be open to genres with the exception of 11v11 simulation games. Why, you ask? Can they not do 11v11? That is because EA owns that license. So when it comes down to 11v11 simulation, regardless of what you're trying to do, if it's arcade style, if it's regular style, anything simulation based with 11v11, EA currently owns that NFL license, at least for the next couple of years for that. So for now, Skills will have to go off something else. You could see something small like a 5v5 NFL game, 7v7 with a simulation aspect. You could see something completely different that focuses on like training up in the combine. It sounds like they're open to anything, but they're hoping it'll become a mobile esport title as we head into 2022, 2023.
Mobile esport. Hooray, NFL. Reaching out for the younger generations on mobile platforms only. Great. Yeah, Joey, I wish I could be more excited. Now I know you are more open to the idea of mobile esports. I am a very closed-minded boomer on this idea in this situation. I get how big mobile gaming is, especially in China. I get it. It's massive, especially in other Asian countries too. It makes sense. When it comes to mobile gaming, it feels like we're putting a restriction on ourselves. Like, why not do better? Why not go to a console? Why not go to a PC? It doesn't have to be a full 11-11 simulation, though, but I feel like we could do so much better.
I hate to tell you, you're wrong in every aspect there.
I know I am. I'm just teeing you up.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, mobile gaming is just, if you look at any first world country, and I don't have stats in front of me, I'm pretty sure it is not only the most popular game by far in every single first world country, but mobile games also bring in the most revenue. And when you think of video game companies, especially someone like an EA, when you look at the NFL, the NBA, what are they thinking about? Are they thinking about how can we make this the most fun for the audience? No. They're thinking about how can we make the most revenue? How can we drive the most marketing impressions to bring up that revenue as well? Revenue is almost always the main factor for any of these companies, sports, gaming, wherever you want to look, revenue is going to be driving it. When it comes down to this, that's why you're looking at mobile games. You can argue Fortnite has done very well. You can also argue that a lot of Fortnite transactions have come from the mobile platform too. So when it comes down to it, they want to make money, and doing it on mobile makes it super accessible. Again, it's changing a little bit because now, like with your Xbox, you can play via xCloud and you can play it on the go. That's now a newer thing come 2020, 2019, even a little bit. So now that that's becoming a thing, I think this could become more console-based. But when you look at the accessibility of mobile games, you look at the number of iPhone users, Google Pixel users, Samsung, any of those big mobile game smartphone users that are smartphones that are strong enough to run these basic games, people are buying them. If you're on the metro, if you're on a bus, if you're going on a long trip down to Disney World, wherever you're going. I mean, it can be at a dentist office for 15 minutes. What are you doing? Well, maybe you're scrolling Twitter, maybe you're on Facebook, maybe you're on Instagram, or maybe you're just playing some kind of mobile game. Maybe it's a word search game. Maybe it's a little Clash of Clans style game. Who knows? Maybe it's Galaxy Heroes with Star Wars. By the way, we are recruiting for our guild. Hit us up after this.
Stop it. Stop it.
You gotta slide it in, right? But seriously, mobile games are popping off. Like John said, China is one of the biggest ones of it. South Korea, they're actually by far the biggest thing going on in South Korea right now. So mobile games are definitely big when it comes to revenue, when it comes to player bases. And I think that's why the accessibility as well. The other thing, again, I don't want to talk mobile games for a year and a half here, but the other thing is the age bracket. When you look at PC and console games, there's very much a set age bracket from like that 8-year-old to 32, 35-year-old is kind of like your general audience. When it comes to mobile games, you're pulling in a lot of people that are even younger than that bracket, as well as a lot of people a lot older than that bracket. My grandparents, some of them played mobile games. I know a number of other people who are well over 60 that play mobile games as well. Now, it could just be like a match 3 game like Bejeweled. It could be a word game, but they're still buying it and they're still playing it. And maybe they even pay $2.95 to get the ads to go away. Or maybe they're frustrated that they're sitting home and they're retired and they need to refresh their energy. So they're going to go ahead and pay an extra 99 cents to get it done because they're just sitting there retired. Like, there's a lot of different people that mobile games hit. And I know you understand it, John. I think some people out there in general don't quite understand the brevity right now of mobile games and how quickly they're growing. So that's kind of why you see NFL making the deal with Skills here as opposed to like an Xbox or a Sony. Good old mobile games. Very brief on this one. We don't really have too many details. I'm going to try to search for more of these later on. But Microsoft is planning to switch up the way they announce things this year. So they're going to have special gaming, cloud, and Windows events in the next couple months. Windows XP is getting an overhaul, or Windows, what are we on? Windows
Definitely
10?
not XP.
I know. I'm thinking XP because Nintendo still supports it or whatever. Windows 10 So there's going to be a little bit of an overhaul coming from that. I don't have too many details yet, so we'll go ahead and hold on that one. You have Project xCloud, mobile gaming, cloud gaming, 3,000 different names for it. There's going to be one talking about that. Some of that will probably come out after the Bethesda deal, and then they're going to have a special gaming one as well. I think that's going to be set for June, kind of as your E3 conference. Again, Microsoft's not the only one. Sony has a lot to announce this year, Tencent, a number of other developers as well. But Microsoft will be coming out with kind of this new approach, as they have allowed everyone to work from home at this point indefinitely. This is going to be something they continue to explore moving forward with, how they can connect to audiences via virtual events as opposed to just really in-person conferences like we've seen in the past, or via articles, just finding different ways to engage people in a new and interesting way. And in a sense, I will have to credit Apple for this, to be honest. Apple has kind of been doing this for many years now, and I feel like a lot of people, Microsoft included here, are watching the success that Apple has had with some of their Apple keynotes and trying to find ways to adapt it into their own style as well.
Yeah, I mean, Apple events have been absolutely fantastic. The way they've split it up between, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch versus WWDC, versus their Mac update. They have just done absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad to see other companies are kind of going off of that model, because, Joey, when the Apple event comes around, you can ask my boss at work, or maybe you don't want to ask him. It's probably safer if you don't ask him. But I will literally put the Apple event on the big screen in my office and force my entire office to watch and continue to work while I take notes watching the Apple event, because, this is my one time I get a break, it feels like. So yeah, I like it. I like to see other companies do that as well. I feel like Apple is not off to, but it is really setting the path there. And I'm glad to see Microsoft is, if that is where they're getting their idea from, I think it's a very good place to get that idea from as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Apple had to have some kind of influence at the very least. Sticking with Microsoft for one more topic, IMDb TV has dropped on Xbox, bringing thousands of shows and movies to the console for free. John, I've actually never used this platform outside of like, hey, that actor or actress, what else was he or she in? Or, whoa, this movie's interesting. What other people are acting in this movie? That kind of thing. Or you see that one person and you're like, oh, I think I know their name, but I can't remember it. That's pretty much what I've used IMDb for before. But apparently there is a streaming service. I believe D-Rod Ballin is still in chat over there, and she has used it before. Have you ever used the service?
No. Yeah, I'm like you. Only when I forget when someone's in a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, so apparently this is a thing, and apparently it's free on Xbox. So if you guys have an Xbox console, whether it be an Xbox One or one of the next-gen consoles, go ahead and check that out. Again, it is a free download and supposedly completely free as well. So that's IMDb TV as the application on there. Over to EA, everyone's favorite, Electronic Arts. We're going to talk a little bit about their earning call, not diving too much into the numbers because those get boring, but we're going to highlight just a couple, as well as some news to go ahead and keep an eye on as we move forward into 2021. So EA Sports franchises, John, they have engaged more than 230 million people over the past fiscal year. So in 2020 alone, 230 million people engaged by EA Sports franchises. Yes, some of them are like Panicking Pat yelling at the servers. Others are enjoying spending a ton of money in Ultimate Team. Some people might just be complaining about loot boxes, but they're engaged either way. And that's 230 million people jumping into that action. That's a lot higher than I think I would have estimated, John. But again, EA, especially with a title like FIFA, definitely has global dominance with the releases. Yeah, that's 230 million people entering into the world's largest toxic relationship with the largest abuser of players in EA Sports. Congratulations, everyone. Look, we're gonna hit on a topic here in a little bit. And I made a tweet about it, and I got a little mixed replies from it. But look, if there's one thing EA Sports does well, it's creating a great simulation video game. Now, whether they develop it from year to year is a great argument. Whether they force you to pay to win if you want to use an Ultimate Team on those games, or to play online or anything else, that's a completely separate discussion for later on. But overall, EA Sports has done a decent job at creating these titles, so it's not surprising that 230 million people over this past fiscal year have engaged in EA Sports franchises. To me, I feel like with the pandemic and more people turning back to video games, 230 million people is a solid number.
It's probably going to continue to grow. And like you said, Joey, major titles like a FIFA, like Madden, like even NHL very popular around the world as well. They keep doing those things well. Granted, they just don't develop it from year to year, it feels like. But overall, they're still a very solid sports simulation game.
Then on top of that, John, sticking with FIFA just slightly, Ultimate Team has had a record of nearly 6 million daily players in December. So those of you kicking it off around the holiday season, there were 6 million players diving in there, selling their cards on the market, playing pairs together to get the best synergy in Ultimate Team. 6 million daily players, again, for that FIFA Ultimate Team, breaking their record there. Absolutely incredible stuff for FIFA. On top of that, they recently acquired Codemasters as well under the EA umbrella after ending up going through and taking that deal from Take-Two Interactive, who is looking to go ahead and close that one up to put out alongside stuff like NBA 2K. EA said, nah, not today. We're going to go ahead and raise the price. They ended up paying, I think, about $275,000 more, somewhere around that number, to go ahead and finish off that acquisition. So with them jumping in, squatting that up, they have come out and said, with this acquisition, they'll be looking to release a racing game every single year. Again, I don't think all of those will come from Codemasters. We've talked about this a bit before. I think it'll come from a few different developers within EA. But again, a pretty ambitious offer there, saying that a racing game will be developed and released every single year, similar to what we see a little bit with Turn 10 and Playground Games over under the Microsoft umbrella, where you have Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon kind of switching off every single year. So you have two different developers working on racing games that are toward the top of the line. EA is kind of looking to match that with this deal. Apex Legends, you guys remember that game that dropped and took some numbers from Fortnite a couple months? I believe it was like March 2019, if I remember correctly. It was like the biggest thing for the time. It lasted from like March to April, and then Fortnite took over once again. But guys, we can't say Apex is still growing. They had a growth of 30% in new players year over year. So continuing to bring in those new players. The one thing they didn't mention on this call that does make me a little nervous, John, is retention numbers. So I think it's great that they're pulling in 30% more new players, but how many players are you retaining? Are you keeping the Jon and I that played back in that March 2019? Are we still playing Apex? The answer for me, at least, is no. I believe that's the answer for Jon as well. So not seeing the retention rate does make me a little nervous here. I'm glad they're able to pull in those new players, but I am curious how many veteran players are sticking around. On top of that, it's going to launch on Nintendo Switch on March 9th, and that should be crossplay as well, so you'll be able to jump in there on your Switch devices, as well as your mobile devices, Jon's favorite, launching next year as well. Anything else on Apex Legends? Have you dove in there recently, good sir?
No, I don't even have it downloaded on my PC, so I can tell you right now, I'm definitely not downloading it onto my phone.
There is that. But Jon, this is a game you do enjoy. You do enjoy some Sims here and there.
I do.
Sims 4 has reached more than 33 million players, breaking its record for engagement on both a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. This is a trifecta, Jon. We have hit the majority here for daily, weekly, and monthly, all in December once again. So you had those 6 million players playing FIFA Ultimate Team. On top of that, daily, weekly, and monthly numbers being broken here for Sims, with 33 million players hopping on in December.
Joey, it makes complete sense. You want to know why The Sims is starting to blow up right now? Because in the world of Sims, Joey, there is no coronavirus. You can leave the house when you play The Sims. You can actually go to work. You can go to school. You can go to a restaurant. There is no face mask option in The Sims because there is no coronavirus in The Sims, Joey. If I could walk outside right now and not be pulled over by the mask police for not wearing a mask by myself alone in my car, you know, I would love to do that. But since no one can do that because we live in a police state, this is a complete joke. And, you know, COVID is, you know, here and everything. You can't exactly do that. So you do it in The Sims instead. So yes, we can't live our real world life right now, but we can do it in The Sims, Joey. And that is why The Sims is popping off.
That is one reason, Jon, but the other reason is right here. The EA Play subscription numbers are up to 13 million players. So what does that mean? What does up mean here? Guys, they had 6 million players just a few months ago. Why this giant growth, you ask? It's Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass has more than doubled the EA Play numbers since it joined in November. I believe it was November 15th. Since then, all of these Xbox players who maybe they dabbled with the EA games before, maybe they hadn't quite jumped in, now they have the access to it for free or within their Game Pass subscription. Diving into these EA games, you see the records coming off right there. Apex Legends hitting records. You see records coming here for FIFA and EA Sports. You see records for Sims 4. I'm sure there's a number of other records as well out there. And that a lot of that coming from Game Pass here. Now 13 million players, up from 6 million players just a few months ago. So again, really paying off there for EA. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is EA Play will be coming to Game Pass on PC. It is not launched yet. It was supposed to launch in December. It has been delayed. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I believe some things behind the scenes are going on as far as possible acquisitions. So that might end up changing things a little bit around there. But at least for now, EA Play will be sticking with the console version for a long time. Will still be coming to the PC version as well. I think they just hit a couple bumps here and there, figuring out some negotiations as far as what that looks like on the back end. And we mentioned it last week or the week before, but EA made it official this week. John, a new Battlefield title, very popular franchise out there for FPS players, will be revealed in spring and will launch in holiday 2021. It's going to include some very large-scale battles, some of the biggest large-scale battles we've seen before. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say it's 64 v 64. So we're looking at stuff that's even bigger than what we have in like Star Wars Battlefront, than what we've had in Battlefield before. We are talking massive battles. I believe on last-gen consoles, it's 32 v 32 is what the cap will be for your Xbox One and PS4. But for those next-gen Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PlayStation 5, and probably PC as well, you're looking at the potential of 64 v 64 in those games, if I remember correctly. On top of that, John, Battlefield, it's cool that they're releasing it here. It's cool that they're announcing it. But one thing we've seen as a trend in the games industry is everyone moving their multiplayer release dates away from Halo Infinite. Battlefield saying, hey, we're just going to take it head on. We're going to release around the same time as Halo Infinite and see what happens.
I can tell you what's going to happen. It's going to get overshadowed. I mean, Halo is one of the most anticipated games of all time. It has multi-generational appeal. I mean, look, Battlefield's a great series. It's a great title. But I'm sorry, Halo's a lot bigger. There's a lot more hype around it. I just feel like it's going to be completely overshadowed by Halo. If they're going to honestly try to take Halo on, I just don't. Okay, fine, that's great. People are still going to buy it. Battlefield's still going to be bought. There's a hardcore Battlefield group out there. But going up against Halo is just tough. I mean, everyone's going to be talking about Halo. Not too many people are going to be talking about Battlefield. So it'll be interesting. We'll see how they pull it off.
Yeah, I'm in a similar spot. I think Halo will definitely overshadow it. I think there is one thing in its favor, and that's the fact that it's kind of more of that realistic, gritty style shooter like a Call of Duty, where Halo goes a little bit more at that futuristic space type of feel, more fantasy based, I guess you can say. It still has a military aspect, but you're fighting kind of aliens based on really Halo lore as opposed to real life people that you would in Battlefront or in Battlefield. So the other thing, though, and it's not official, but I believe Call of Duty is still coming out around October as well. So you're looking at, one, all those people who buy into Call of Duty in October, then all those people who buy into a free-to-play Halo multiplayer in November, and then you're going to come out maybe late November, early December. You're going to have to hope people have moved on from Call of Duty and Halo at that point, or that maybe this 64 v 64 is enough to sell people on those new next-gen consoles. I don't know how it's going to end up, but at least for now, they're still set for a launch of holiday 2021. This is a lot of EA in today's thing here.
I don't like it.
Briefly hitting this next one, Electronic Arts has announced a multi-platform EA Sports FIFA Global expansion. We're looking at a multi-year UEFA Club competition license extension. This is big, John, because UEFA has functioned a little bit back and forth between Konami's game of Pro Evolution Soccer as well as EA's FIFA. So it does look like they have been able to ensure that they have a license at least for a multi-year deal here with the UEFA stuff. So you can get your good old Champions League play within EA's FIFA title. On top of that, 6 in-development mobile experiences and FIFA Online for market expansion. I'm confused by this. How many times can you release FIFA on mobile? 6 different FIFA mobile games in development? Like, are we going to have like a game where we just flick a soccer ball into a goal? We're going to have the main simulation? Are we going to get like 3v3 arcade FIFA where I run my 3 fingers across? Like, again, I play mobile games. I enjoy mobile games. I get that the market is there. Do I think there's a market for 6 FIFA-based mobile games? That might be pushing it for me.
Joey, microtransactions, 6 games, 6 times the microtransactions. They don't share across games. It's perfect. It's perfect. EA is a freaking genius. They're going to put loot boxes in there. They're going to have events in there that's borderline gambling, so your 8-year-old kid can be gambling away stuff on there as well. You know, everything that EA is great at, they're going to implement in 6 different versions. Yes, Joey, this is stupid. 6 games, or are you gonna, like, I feel like one has to be mobile Volta. So there's your 3v3, 4v4. What are they going to do? Like a penalty shootout only game, or are they going to do like I don't know. Are they going to break it up into regions? Like, are they going to have like North America FIFA mobile, like where you can play MLS? I mean, yeah, I see that getting tons of downloads. Not. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you laugh there, Joey. Is it really going to just come down to like the EPL and the German Bundesliga? Those are going to be the 2 most downloaded. Then you have like La Liga. No one watches La Liga because it's all freaking Barcelona and Real Madrid. No one watches Serie A Italian soccer because it's just rigged. So like, what do they do? Like, it's 6 games. It makes no sense. This is just EA trying to grab money from microtransactions. It makes no sense.
Now, I don't think this is the case, but I feel like it's worth bringing up. So when we look at EA Sports, everyone, I feel like for almost a decade now, has been asking for crossplay between the Xbox and PlayStation platforms. If this ends up being something stupid where iOS and Android cannot play with one another, so it's actually 3 games that are duplicated here,
you know what it is.
I am probably going to be quite pissed at that. Again, I don't think that is what the case is going to be. I don't think that'll happen. But with EA, you have to ask those questions because it has been around for quite a while now between the console platforms. Again, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation, none of those can really connect when it comes to FIFA. I hope that's not the case when it comes to like iOS and Android, but with EA, it is one of those questions that has to be asked, and you're going to have to wait for an answer to really find out.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
Absolutely. So go ahead and get ready to download those 6 FIFA mobile games. You'll probably need a new phone, because all those are going to take a few gigabytes up. So no more pictures on your phone to go ahead and find your space for 6 mobile soccer games from EA.
Invest in the iCloud.
Invest in the iCloud. On top of that, EA is making another sports investment, John. That is NCAA football. We haven't had an NCAA football game since 2014, I believe. The new franchise, and this is quoted, the new franchise will deliver authentic college football experiences and the high-quality gameplay that fans have long loved in college football from EA Sports. Through the CLC partnership, the franchise will include the rights to more than 100 institutions, featuring the logos, stadiums, uniforms, game day traditions, and more that fans have come to know and love. Now, buried deep in this press release is this disclaimer. While this college game will not include student-athlete names, images, and likenesses, EA Sports is continuing to watch those developments closely. So again, you are playing as Northwestern University, or UCLA, or Texas A&M, whoever you want to go ahead and jump in as the team. You get the logo, you get the celebrations, you get their fun little interstate rivalries going on, or inter-school rivalries as well. You get your cheerleader uniforms, you get your football uniforms. You pretty much get everything authentic to the school. All of those rights will be in there. Now, your quarterbacks, your wide receivers, they're purely going to be just a number. Again, this has been a thing around in this franchise when it was back in 2014. It's not something new. It's pretty much based on the whole argument that student athletes should be paid. Some people will argue they make more than enough money in scholarship money. Others will argue it's not the same as a job because of that scholarship being involved. Whichever way you argue, at least for now, EA is not putting those names in there, is not putting those visual likenesses either until there's further development of that court case as it's currently being developed between the NCAA and student athletes.
You know what? Everyone's fine with it. I kid you not. Ever since Madden and their road to being a pro mode, or be a pro mode didn't come out, but ever since they redid it a couple years ago, where you could start in college and you can choose from 8 licensed colleges and you essentially pick up in the college playoffs. I don't think anyone really cared that they couldn't have, whatever. I'm blanking on his name. Quarterback from Clemson, Sunshine.
Watson?
No. He's going to go first overall this year to the Jaguars.
I can't even think of his name. I know who you're talking about, though.
Anywho, he's, I don't think anyone's really going to care. Like, yeah, you would love to have that realness, that authenticity put into the game. Trevor Lawrence, thank you. Blanking on his name. I apologize, Trevor. I know you're a diehard listener here on LvLUp Live, so my apologies for that. But here's something that happened back in the old, NCAA games as well. Okay. You downloaded roster packs from someone who has no life, and they fill in the names of every single player. I believe that the players were just like titled QB 14. QB12. So their names weren't used, but definitely their image and likeness were, especially if you were the cover athlete as well, which tend to be an athlete who graduated the season before in their college uniform on the front, but sometimes it wasn't. So that's kind of that gray area too. But someone is going to make the roster that is you can download that's going to have all the names. It happens all the time. That's the reason why you can continue to play like Madden 16 and you just download the rosters constantly and keep yourself updated without having to drop another $60, $70. But I just think people are excited to finally have college football back as a video game. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait 2 to 3 years for it to come out. It's still being developed, but it's absolutely massive. College football in North America, in the United States, is an absolute just insane like atmosphere. Like that is probably the closest thing that we have in America to European soccer. You have a student section that is chanting, that is singing, that's cheering the fight song. You have rabid fans that aren't students. They may be alumni. They may be people who live in the area who didn't go to the school but are still supporting their local university there. Like those fans of college sports are absolutely insane in the best way possible. And that fan base for so long has not had an option to play a video game. Same thing, like they used to have NCAA basketball. I absolutely love playing that. That's gone also. That's what I hope that comes back also. That would be fantastic. This might be one of the best things EA has done. We'll see how the NCAA kind of like puts their own marking on this. But so far, the fact that they have that CLC partnership with over 100 universities so far, that alone is going to be enough to get people hyped. And if it's anything like what we saw in NCAA football prior to this, your path to the NFL in the NCAA will be able to transfer over into Madden, which was one of the best features EA has ever come up with, being able to play in college, then going directly to the pros, being drafted and everything at a higher rating than if you were just to create a pro in Madden. It is so smart. It is so great. I loved it. I am so glad it's coming back. I will wait 2 to 3 years and I will be buying it day one. I'm absolutely in love with the fact that EA is bringing this back.
Yeah, I think it'll be probably, I don't know when it'll be. I think it'll be next year or the year after. I don't think it'll be super, super long of a wait. But yeah, sports games, EA definitely making some moves here and there. Again, they get a lot of critique, especially for their pro games. And I think they're starting, I don't want to say they're making major changes, but I do think they are starting to look at some of that feedback a little bit more critically and starting to develop more of these games. Again, money is still the end goal here. They're not doing this purely for the fans and the players. They are still financially and monetarily driven here, but changes are coming to some of these games. So I think we'll see more of that here later in the year, as well as we head into 2022. Last bit for EA on today's news, and it is not sports game related, chat, so you can go ahead and chill there, T-Spans. As we've been teasing the last couple episodes, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition details were dropped on Tuesday. We hit that nail right on the head. On top of that, it will include all 3 games of the original trilogy, along with 40 DLC packs. John, not 4 DLC, 40 DLC packs. This is from custom guns to armor to actual story-based DLC as well. Back when DLC was a big thing. So lots of good stuff coming in here. Again, 3 full games and 40 DLC for the lovely price of about $60. Really good deal here. If you guys have not played Mass Effect, I highly, highly encourage it. One of the best series out there on last-gen consoles, or really 2 generations of consoles ago, back on the Xbox 360, when I played a really, really cool series and now remastered. On top of that, you're getting 4K HDR, overhauled visuals, enhanced performance, all the good stuff of these rebooted franchises, new model shaders, visual effects, lighting. You have a female Shepard option as well. So female Shepard didn't come out until Mass Effect 3. Now she'll be offered for Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. So whether you want to play as male, female, or some kind of alien later on down the road, those options are available. Weapons have been rebalanced and more finely tuned. That was an issue with a couple Mass Effects, Mass Effect 1 and 2. In particular, got some weapon balancing critique. Now that it's supposedly been re-looked at and completely reworked as well. And on top of that, all 3 titles have been upscaled with textures updated in both size and quality. So you're going to have the rich depth of these original stories replayable the same way they were originally. But on top of that, you get these nice HDR models. You might have some ray tracing, those visual effects, lighting, models, female Shepard, titles being completely overdone with textures being much more crisp. John, I'm actually super excited for this, especially at the price of $60. to get 3 full-length games that are all worth $60 in and of themselves. On top of that, all these increased visuals and now this reworked combat system as well. This to me sounds like a huge, great deal coming out later in May. It's
a steal and a half. Essentially, you're getting a pretty much a borderline remastered games plural, if you will. Upscale textures, the overhaul, the HDR 4K, the new models, the new shading, the 40 DLCs. Joey, for $60, it's a steal. In the present day gaming world, this game would probably be closer to $80 or $90, if not more. There's no way it would be all 3 in one for $60. Joey, it's $20 a game is what it breaks down to. Dirt cheap, absolutely dirt cheap. It's a heck of a deal. If you're looking, to hop into Mass Effect, if you haven't played it before, if you're looking to get that remastered version, if you will, of Mass Effect, $60 is not asking too much for 3 amazing games.
Absolutely. And if you are a Microsoft player, whether on Xbox consoles or on PC, you also get that Game Pass plus EA Play discount as well. So that's going to drop your price down to around $50. So save $10 and get 3 amazing games that have been remastered. Definitely worth looking into as we head into the spring. Upcoming news, again, guys, coming to the end of the show here as we're getting close to that hour mark. Sony Santa Monica dropped a next-gen enhanced performance experience for PS5 owners of God of War. This is the 2018 version of God of War. It's now going to sync to 60 frames per second, 4K checkerboard resolution, and 2160p as far as those visuals for resolution. John, overall, this is a really cool game. It's one of those games that I believe won Game of the Year when it came out in 2018. Very popular franchise and really Sony's flagship franchise on PlayStation. So if you're a PlayStation gamer, now you have the option of buying that game now or playing it once again on your new PS5 console if you've been able to lock one down with those new 60 frames per second, which is becoming a standard in the gaming industry. For consoles, that is. PC, obviously much farther than that at this point. And you have those new resolutions coming as well. I never got the chance to play this God of War. I believe you have, John, if I remember correctly. But again, one of those kind of legendary titles that's worth diving back into.
Absolutely love God of War. If I had a PS5, I'd be so hyped for this. I would love to see the 60 frame per second 4K version of this game. The game is fantastic already as it was prior to this boost. I can only imagine how great it looks afterwards. I'm a huge God of War fan. I think it's just it's a massive step and just goes to show you, that even though it's technically now a 3-year-old game, it's a game that was still seeing enough hype around, enough traffic around for them to justify making this massive upgrade to the 2018 God of War. So I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. And I think it's going to look great. And I think gamers are going to absolutely love that update for the game.
Absolutely. So guys, God of War fans or people who just want to check out that franchise, if you have a PS5, now is a great time to look into diving into God of War's 2018 version. Season 1 of Rogue Company dropped yesterday with a slew of changes, balance changes for guns, weapons, and rogues. On top of that, a new rogue Kestrel coming from, I believe, India, if I remember correctly. She comes in with kind of a drone strike ability, some new weapons, and some new perks as well. A rank mode drop, very similar to League of Legends. For those of you who play, bronze, silver, gold, that style of ranked where you can move between a few different divisions under each of those ranked umbrellas. A battle pass dropped as well with 50 tiers. You have cosmetics, premium currency, stickers, dances, sprays, and all that good included as well. So Rogue Company, again, this is one of those games that John and I have talked about a bit here and there. It is one of the fastest growing games currently since it entered into open beta in October. Still continuing to grow quite a bit. I believe in October it had 6 million players. Now in December it had over 12 million players. Now heading into 2021 with the official first season launching, I assume we're probably near 15 million players at this point. So it just continues to grow. Again, there are some server issues here and there, so something to look at. But for now, Rogue Company going upward and launching a lot of content between October and now. Somewhere around 3 maps got launched, a number of different skins, new game modes, a ranked beta, now a ranked full, a battle pass, multiple new rogues. They just continue to drop content. So a team that is very dedicated to Rogue Company here. Games coming out this week, most of them have launched already, but the last one on the list is the Neo Collection. Those of you who played Neo, I believe it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive at one point. That collection is dropping later this week on Friday. Again, the Neo Collection, if you want to check that one out. And last but not least, also coming on Friday is a Final Fantasy 14 online showcase. This one's scheduled for Friday, February 5th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time or 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. I don't exactly know what's going to get announced, but I've heard little rumors here and there that it could be launching on Xbox consoles in addition to PlayStation, to kind of expand that PC and PlayStation audience to a few other platforms like Xbox as well, maybe even Nintendo Switch, but you guys will have to watch that showcase to find out what actually ends up getting announced. John, that pretty much does it. I mean, we could briefly go over League of Legends, but we are over that hour mark. We did end up touching on that earlier in the week. Do you remember our matches of the week?
So for LCS, it actually wasn't out yet. The web LOL Esports
right
didn't have it out. They do have it out right now. So just looking at it real quick to give you a matchup. Cloud9 TSM is always a classic matchup. That's going to be taking place on Saturday. That is going to be 7 p.m. Eastern time. Joey, OTN subscriber and good friend of LvLUp Live, Squircle, his Golden Guardians are going to be going up against my Cloud9 as their first match of the split tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern time on the 5th. So that's going to be exciting for both Squircle and myself as Cloud9 demolishes the Golden Guardians once again. But other than that, Joey, I would say everything seems to be pretty predictable going forward into this week. We're going to see how good 100 Thieves re-ramp roster really is. They did perform quite well during the lock-in. So it'll be interesting to see if they are able to take that momentum into the split as well. But yeah, just really excited for the return of the LCS. But Joey, the LEC is still killing it. We talked about them before. That music video they put out was fantastic. I just wish LCS would do more stuff like that because I feel like we have just as much emo drama in the LCS, if not more, than you guys do in the LEC. So I don't know, Joey. I'm just jealous that the LEC is so much better at everything. It feels like.
Yeah, I will post this in chat, guys. This is casters. These are like John and I shoutcasting Rocket League and all of this good stuff, like Rocket League and League of Legends and whatever we end up casting. This is the casters for the League of Legends scene over in Europe. And they just completely do crazy stuff. They've done a rap battle in the summer. They've done a number of other things. I think their last song was Pop before this one. Now it's diving into something a little bit more emo based. It almost seems like in this one, really hitting the themes quite well and diving in. And John, I mean, the music sounded good. Like they're obviously not the greatest of singers. They're not going to be someone who's going around touring as a singer, but their vocals were not bad. The overall production value as far as the video, I think, was phenomenal. They really hit on the themes quite well. They hit on everything as far as what was going on in the music and the lyrics. The way they do the lyrics is perfect. It hits on everything going on in the League of Legends scene for Europe, really hitting the depth of it and what it means, as well as throwing a few puns in there, which of course I appreciate, as if chat didn't already know that already. But definitely check that one out. Very well done. Again, this is LEC's Reckless With My Heart. We posted it in the chat link here on Twitch, but I know most of you do listen on the podcast version. Go ahead and just go on YouTube and search LEC Reckless With My Heart, and you'll find it. It's only about 3 minutes long, so not super long, but definitely worth to listen to. Whether you like the music or not, it's just so impressive seeing casters do this. John, our LEC match of the week was Fnatic and versus G2. This is going to be very similar, and this song actually teases this matchup coming later in the week, where Reckless, who left Fnatic over in the offseason, did move over to the rivals in G2 and will now have that rematch coming for the first time in the spring split. And that will be the last match of the week. So that comes on Saturday. I want to say like 3 p.m. Eastern time, if I remember the LEC schedule. So somewhere around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern time is when that will be kicking off. If you guys are interested, should be a pretty good matchup. I believe we both predicted G2 to win this one. I would love to see Fnatic to win, as if you can't tell from the flag and the jersey and all that. But G2, definitely being a powerhouse team, has a very good shot at winning that one. For the LCS, John, one matchup you didn't mention, but I do want to bring up before we wrap up, is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. This is Evil Geniuses versus 100 Thieves. This is pretty much the matchup between the two third-place teams of the lock-in tournament, who never got a chance to play one another. One of the teams losing to Team Liquid, the other losing to Cloud9. 100 Thieves fell to Cloud9 in a best-of-5. Evil Geniuses did lose, I believe, 3-0 to Team Liquid in the other side of that semifinal. So now this is kind of like our third-place match. Obviously, it doesn't count for any points or anything like that, but it is one of those cool things to see who would have kind of been that third-place opponent potentially if it was played out in a third-place consolation match. So that one, again, comes tomorrow, February 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I think that does it, sir. I was going to leak some stuff on today's show, but we're like 105 already. We're over the hour mark. I did post stuff on the OTN Discord if you guys want to check that out. That's discord.me/OTN. Been leaking a lot of game stuff there. We'll probably talk a lot about gaming next Monday. We'll hit on a little bit of esports stuff here and there. But overall, I think diving into some of these rumors, there's some I did not mention on Discord. I think they're a little too big to bring up on Discord as opposed to not discussing them on the show. So we'll go ahead and do that. But on top of that, guys, we will leave you with one little bit of sad news. Overwatch 2 is not coming out this year, and neither is Diablo 4. We can now confirm that it came out today officially from Activision in their earnings call. So you will have to wait at least one more year to see those two games come out.
Shocker. As if all signs did not point to that. Thank you, Blizzard, for being obvious in what the entire gaming world already knew. Appreciate it. All right, Nation, that is going to do it for this edition of Level Up Live. But before you go, head over to patreon.com/OTN and consider becoming a part of the Overtime Network. In return, you will get access to exclusive content that nobody else in the world can get unless they are a part of OTN Media. If you haven't already done so, make sure you follow the show here on Twitch to catch the next episode of Level Up Live. If you listen to the show on our podcast feed, leave us a review. The LvLUp Podcast is available on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. We would love to hear from you. In fact, we love to hear from our community so much. Joey, we have other ways they can reach out to us. What are those ways?
Hit us up on TikTok I'm just kidding. Twitter's first at LvLUp Live. That is LVLUP Live. In addition to that, you can follow the umbrella company OTN Media on Twitter and Facebook as well at OTN Media, and on Instagram at OTN_media. Last but not least, as John said, hit us up on Twitch. Follows, subscriptions, Amazon Prime subs. We love it all over here. But most of all, just come hop out and chat, hang out, say hi, listen to the good old stuff happening here. Level Up Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as a number of other streams throughout the week. Again, twitch.tv/OTN Media.
It might be Super Bowl weekend, but that doesn't mean esports stop. Tons of esport action, which we will be recapping on Monday, February 8th. As we cover all of that and the latest and greatest in gaming esports news, do your ears and eyes a favor. Hit. Why are you laughing, Joey?
I'm laughing at chat over here.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, they're dissing your TikTok. Do your ears and eyes a favor. Hit that sub and follow button to know when the next episode of Level Up Live is ready for your viewing pleasures. We will catch you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Remember, be nice to your fellow gamers online. And as always,
level up.
Cold as me, motherfucker, stop pretending. Stop pretending. Stop pretending. You're not as cold as me. Cold as me. Cold as me. Cold as me, motherfucker, stop pretending. Stop pretending. Stop pretending. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You're not as cold as me. I don't give a fuck. Cold as me. Cold as me. Cold as me. Cold as me. Motherfucker, stop pretending. Stop pretending. Stop pretending. Stop.